Hello everyone. The first two essays in this class are probably going to be different from what you're used to. You will be writing to a specific target, 2 pages, double-spaced. No more, no less. To help, I will use this presentation to explain the expectations for the first two essays. Let's get started. First, we'll start with the instructions. For the first two essays, you need to choose one of the discussion board prompts and answer it with a 2-page double-spaced essay. The first essay will have the Beowulf discussion board prompts to choose from, but the second essay will have both the Beowulf and Titus Andronicus discussion board assignments to choose from. Each essay needs to answer a unique question, so you cannot choose the same question for both essays. Some of the discussion board prompts ask for the response to focus on a single idea. If you decide to use that prompt, you will need to expand the idea into a 2-page essay. For example, one of the Beowulf prompts asks you to identify one characteristic of masculinity in Beowulf. In the essay, you will need to identify 2 characteristics of masculinity in Beowulf. All of the essays you'll write for this class will be argumentative. Therefore, the essay needs to express an argument that the body paragraphs will prove. The first 2 essays will not require research. Use what you learned in class and your own logical reasoning to support the essay's argument. Students who rely too much on research tend to simply regurgitate other writers' ideas instead of their own. Therefore, I want you to strengthen your analytical skills, to develop your own ideas first before trying to integrate the research. We'll work on how best to use research to support your ideas when we get to the research essay. Before we get to the outline of the essay, I will next provide some tips for writing to a target. First, eliminate wordiness. This does not mean your essay should be underdeveloped or short. Eliminating wordiness refers to the number of words used in individual sentences. For each sentence, use as few words as possible to express its idea. Students will often throw in extra, unnecessary words to beef up their word counts. They'll start a sentence with, "in this day and age," for instance, instead of using the briefer and simpler, "today." Using fewer words will help with the reader's comprehension. Additionally, as you write about more complex topics, you'll naturally need more words to express your ideas. Learning how to eliminate wordiness will make it easier on you when writing about complex ideas. Second, be as precise as possible with word choices. The more precise you are, the more likely the reader will understand your ideas. Avoid vague, broad words and phrases. For example, "since the beginning of time" can be replaced with more specific reference to time, like "in the 8th century." Slang and other informal expressions should also be avoided since they are specific to a sociocultural setting. That is, people outside of the culture that produce the slang will struggle with understanding. For instance, informing the reader that Beowulf is a total Chad will mean nothing to someone unfamiliar with the expression. Instead, use words and phrases that most people would be able to understand. You could write, "Beowulf exhibits his society's characteristics of an ideal man," including a level of boastfulness that appears to be excessive to modern readers. Third, avoid redundancy by eliminating phrases that are repetitive. For instance, "I believe," "I think," and "I feel" are redundant because the essay's ideas are yours, and so the reader can assume that you are expressing what you believe. These phrases also weaken the assertiveness of your statements, making you sound like you are unsure of your own ideas. Essays should adjust their lengths according to the expectations of the assignment. For a 2-page essay, I strongly suggest having the following structure. The introduction should have 3 to 5 sentences, including the thesis. The essay should only have 2 body paragraphs, each with 7 to 10 sentences. And the essay should end with a conclusion. Like the introduction, it should only have 3 to 5 sentences. As for the introduction, it should introduce the reader to the essay's topic and the text being analyzed. This section of the introduction should be accomplished in 2 to 4 sentences. Within the introduction, you should provide the reader with a brief summary of the text. The summary should prepare the reader for the topic. For instance, if the essay's topic is masculinity, then the summary should focus on the aspects of the text that feature manliness. After the summary, set up the topic for the reader. At this point, you should directly introduce masculinity as a concept. The final sentence in the introduction, the thesis, should express the essay's main idea. Express the essay's main idea in a single sentence that expresses a clear, focused argument. The thesis's claim should be something that can be fully developed within the assignment's length requirement, so it should not be too broad. For the thesis, I suggest using the following formula. The thesis should contain the essay's topic, express an opinion or claim, and provide the reader with the main ideas the essay will use to support the claim. Take the following example of a strong thesis for a 2-page essay. Beowulf demonstrates that early English society viewed competition and destroying the feminine as important characteristics of masculinity. Each of the body paragraphs should express and support a distinct claim that, in turn, supports the thesis. Body paragraphs should also focus on a single idea. That way, you are less likely to produce an underdeveloped and/or off-topic paragraph. To start, a body paragraph's topic sentence should express a focused, argumentative claim that the paragraph will support. The first or second sentence in a body paragraph should answer the following question. What is this paragraph going to prove? Immediately after expressing a topic sentence's claim, provide the reader with the first piece of evidence the paragraph will use to support the paragraph's main idea. When analyzing literary text, the evidence will primarily be direct quotes from the text. Introduce the direct quote with a phrase or clause that provides the reader with some context for the quote. Take the following as an example introductory clause. For instance, when Unferth challenges Beowulf's strength, Beowulf states, after providing the reader with evidence, you need to analyze it by thoroughly explaining how the evidence supports the topic sentence's claim. Should the paragraph need more evidence and analysis, it should provide more. Remember, every piece of evidence provided in the paragraph needs to be followed with analysis. Do not leave any evidence unexplained or unanalyzed. The concluding sentence should connect the paragraph's main idea to the essay's overall argument by answering the following question. How does the paragraph support the thesis? Each of the body paragraphs should follow this structure. The conclusion should provide the reader with a synthesis of the essay's main ideas. You can accomplish this by restating the thesis's main idea, reviewing the essay's main points, and providing a final thought on the topic. The final thought can be a reasonable prediction or suggestion. For a 2-page essay, more space should be devoted to the body paragraphs than either the introduction or the conclusion. Therefore, the first and last paragraphs do not need to be that long for these essays. Focus more on developing the body paragraph's ideas. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.